Hey, what's up guys, welcome back. In this video, we will first project the aeroplane model on top of our aeroplane image, and after this we will write one script to move the aeroplane model on top of our image target. So let's start with the aeroplane model customization. Now for flying the aeroplane model on top of the aeroplane image, let's add a new image target. So to add a new image target, I'll open the Vuforia folder. Next I'll open the prefabs folder, and after this I'll drag a new image target inside the hierarchy. I'll make this image target a child of the AR camera. After this I'll rename this image target to aeroplane image target. Next, with the aeroplane image target selected, I'll change the database to AR book database. After this I'll change the image target to aeroplane. Okay. Now as you can see, by default the aeroplane image target is at a position of 0, 0, 0. So I'll select the x-axis of the aeroplane image target and I'll bring it to the extreme left side. Next, I'll rotate the aeroplane image target by 180 degrees along the y-axis. So I'll change the y rotation directly to 180 degree from the inspector panel. After adding the aeroplane image target, next let's add an aeroplane model on top of this image target. Okay, so I'll go inside the assets folder. I'll open the area 730 folder. Next I'll open the stylized city folder. After this I'll open the prefabs folder. Next I'll open the aircraft folder, and inside the aircraft folder, as you can see, we have 5 aircraft prefabs. So if I click on the aircraft model, then you can see the preview of each aircraft model on the right hand side in the inspector panel. So we have 5 aircraft models, and out of the 5 aircraft models which we have, I'll select this last aircraft model, okay, that is the warplane interceptor model. So I'll drag it inside the scene, and if you look very carefully, the size of this aircraft model is way too big. So I'll select the scale tool and I'll reduce the size of this. Okay. After reducing the size, next, if you look very carefully, the aircraft model is pointing in the right direction. So I want it to point in the opposite direction, that is the left direction. So I'll again select the rotation tool and then I'll move this blue sphere. Okay, and as you can see, when I rotate the blue sphere, so during that time there is a change in the z-axis. Okay, and the value is reducing. Okay, so the exact value is 0. So if I click on the y-axis tool, then as you can see, my aeroplane is now pointing exactly in the left direction. So I'll select the position tool and I'll bring the aeroplane exactly on top of the aeroplane image target. I'll reduce the size a little bit more. After this I'll place the aeroplane on top of the aeroplane image target. Next I'll make the warplane interceptor, that is the aeroplane model, a child of the aeroplane image target. And next I'll click on the play button to check the output. So as you can see, the aeroplane model is placed exactly on top of the aeroplane image target. Next, let's add a fire particle behind this aeroplane model so that when our aeroplane model moves, so during that time you will see some flames or you will see some fire coming out from the back of the aeroplane. Okay, so to add the fire particles or to add the flame particles, I'll open the standard assets folder. Next I'll open the particle systems. After this I'll open the prefabs folder, and this time the prefab which I'll be using is called the afterburner prefab. So I'll drag it in the scene panel, and as you can see, this is how the afterburner prefab looks. Okay, so next I'll place this afterburner prefab exactly behind the plane. Okay, so to do this, I'll first select the rotation tool. I'll rotate this by 90 degrees. Okay, so I should be making a change of -90 over here. So I'll change this to -90 directly. After this I'll select the position tool and I'll place the fire particle exactly behind the plane. Okay, I'll select the y-axis to check whether the fire particle is placed exactly behind the plane or not. Okay, so I'm satisfied with this position. Now after adding this fire particle called afterburner, okay, next I'll make it a child of the warplane interceptor model, that is aeroplane model. And the main reason why I have made this afterburner prefab a child of our aeroplane model is because whenever the aeroplane moves. So during that time, I want this afterburner model to move with it. Okay, so I'll click on Ctrl Z to move the aeroplane to its default position. Now, after adding the flame particles behind the aeroplane model, next let's move our aeroplane from the right side to the left side. Okay, so to move our aeroplane model, I'll open the data files folder. I'll then open the scripts folder, and inside the scripts folder, as you can see, we have this move script. Okay, and if you remember, we have written this move script to move a ship from one point to the other point, that is from the right side to the left side. Okay, so I'll attach this move script to the warplane interceptor model, that is the aeroplane model, and let's see if our aeroplane is moving in the forward direction or not. So I'll select the position tool. I'll move my aeroplane a little behind. I'll attach the script. Okay, I'll bring this a little down. And next, as I was saying, I'll attach the move script to our aeroplane model. So if I click on the aeroplane model, then as you can see, the move script is attached to it. So to avoid confusions, I'll just change the name of the warplane interceptor model to aeroplane model. Okay, so that you don't get confused. And now if I click on the play button, then our aeroplane should be moving in the forward direction. So guys, if you look very carefully, instead of moving forward, the aeroplane is moving in the upward direction. Okay, and it is going outside the play area. So I'll come out of play mode and I'll click on the play button again, and let's check the output again. So if you look very carefully, the aeroplane is moving in the upward direction and not the forward direction. Okay, so let me explain you why this is happening. So guys, if I select the aeroplane model, then as you can see, inside the aeroplane model, the axis which is pointing in the forward direction is the x-axis. Okay, but if I open the move script, then inside the move script, as you can see, we have set the x-axis to 0, we have set the y-axis to 0, and we have set the z-axis, or I can say we have set the z-axis value to 0.5f. And because of this, the aeroplane model is moving in the upward direction. Okay, as the z-axis of the aeroplane is pointing in the upward direction. Okay, so if you look over here, the x-axis is projecting in the forward direction, y-axis is projecting in the side direction, and the z-axis is projecting in the top direction. Okay, so that's why if I click on the play button, the aeroplane is moving in the top direction. Okay, which is the z-axis. So this code is working perfectly. Okay, and if you remember, we have written the move script code for a boat model. Okay, as in case of the boat model, the z-axis is pointing in the forward direction. So if we attach the move script to the aeroplane model, then the aeroplane model is moving in the upward direction, as the z-axis of the aeroplane model is pointing in the upward direction. And to move our aeroplane model forward, if we change the value of x to 0.5, then our ship will move in the side direction. Okay, as if we look at the ship model, then the x-axis of the ship is pointing in this direction, that is sides. Okay, so to move the aeroplane model and the ship model in their respective forward direction without writing a new script, I will declare 3 float variables inside the move script. I'll name them as x value, y value, and z value. And as you can see, I've kept all these 3 variables public so that we can see them in the inspector panel. Okay, now in place of x, I'll type x value. In place of y, I'll type y value, and in place of z, I'll type z value. Okay, I'll hit save. So after finishing the script, next I'll click on the boat model, and as you can see, since the forward direction for the boat is the z-axis, I'll change the z value to 0.5. After this, I'll zoom in on the aeroplane model. And for the aeroplane model, the forward direction is the x-axis. Okay, so I'll change the x value of the aeroplane model to 0.5. And now let's see if the aeroplane is moving in the forward direction or not. So as you can see, the aeroplane which we have is moving in the forward direction, and we can also see the flames coming out of the aeroplane. So guys, that's it from this video and I'll see you in the next video.